Congressman Harris, great to see you again. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. A lot to get to, but first, I want to talk about affordability. Of course, that is what the president was talking about last night in Pennsylvania, and what the administration is doing to really help bring down costs and bring relief to Americans. And the president also mentioned the tariffs and how that strategy is bringing billions of dollars into the country. He also talked about energy costs and how they're coming down as well. What are you seeing in your home state of North Carolina, and what are your constituents saying to you about the state of the economy right now?
Well, what I'm hearing, Tracy, first of all, thank you for having me with you today, and it's an honor always to be with you. We're finding the folks in North Carolina, at least in my district, are certainly encouraged that we're making progress, that we're seeing the policies put in place that are beginning to see the economy turn around. There's no question that people in my state felt the oppression of the Biden years and the rampant inflation that just was so out of control. And so we've seen that continue to come down. We're seeing it brought under control. And not only that, when you look back at this summer and all of the work that went into the reconciliation package, the One Big Beautiful Bill, we were able to put the policies and the principles in place that as they continue to kick in, as they continue to ramp up, I really do believe that we're going to see this economy take off at such a rapid way. And I'm very grateful all those things are coming together. We have much more work to do. I think affordability is an issue. We want to make sure our people are feeling the effects of all of these policies. And as everything when it comes to economics, there's a little bit of a delay in seeing the impact and all the effects. So I think we're on the right track, and we're moving forward again.
Yeah, and certainly, as you say, I mean, things do take some time. Back here in Washington, the Senate is expected to vote tomorrow to extend the Obamacare COVID-era tax subsidies, but neither the Republican legislation nor the Democrats' three-year extension proposal is really likely to receive enough votes in order to pass. Quickly refresh us, if you don't mind, on the sticking points for these dueling proposals and then the next steps.
Well, there's a number of proposals that are out there, and we are going to be taking action hopefully next week to get some things in place. But you've got to remember that these subsidies that we've been hearing so much about in the media are COVID-era subsidies. They are all about what was happening when there was a pandemic. I've got news for you. The pandemic is over. We've moved past that, and we're continuing to move past that. As Americans, we're moving past that in our economy. There's no doubt our economy took a hit during that, and we put some things in place. But I'm grateful that COVID is behind us, and we're now moving forward. And so what we're going to be doing as we look at some of the proposals in the next week are going to be those kind of things we've talked about in the past, being able to put the consumer in control, health insurance companies out of controlling our health care. And I think that's going to be absolutely crucial, putting it back to the patients and the doctors once again. And so you're going to hear some ideas that Republicans have talked about for a good while, and we're going to see them in legislation, and I'm confident that we're going to be able to stand together, hopefully united, and move them across the finish line, maybe even next week.
Yeah, and meanwhile, many Republicans in the House are expressing concern over the final version of the annual defense bill set to hit the floor today. Florida Republican Greg Steube posted this on social media, writing this in part: Dems removed several Republican policies on DEI in the military, and Dems are bragging about it. Our Republican leadership expects us to vote for this, ? Representative Harris, your reaction to that? I know this bill does contain some really good things, though, including increasing pay for service members.
Well, there are good things in the NDAA, and I'm confident that it is going to pass when we get there later today. And I think it's going to be important for us to be able to stand together. Of course, anytime you have a bill like this that is so massive and it goes over to the Senate and it ends up in a conference, you're going to get some things in there that you would prefer not be the way they are. But the reality is this is something that I believe the votes are there. I believe we're going to be able to pass it, and I think it's going to be important for us to move forward. We see some good things that are happening with it, even in our own state of North Carolina, for sure.
Yeah, and also all eyes on the Fed today, as you know, as we wait and watch to see if interest rates are slashed again, and what that could mean also for Fed Chair Jerome Powell. We know President Trump really wants him out. So your thoughts on all this? What do you think we're going to see today?
Well, I do. I'm hopeful from everything I'm reading and seeing that perhaps we are going to see a rate cut later today. But of course, you know, that's up to the Fed decision as they get closer to that this afternoon. But I think it's important. I think the president's made an incredible point that every time we lower interest rate, again, let's not forget, we have a $38 to $39 trillion debt in this nation. And just the amount that we're spending on interest is unbelievable. So I do think seeing that rate come down is the right move to continue to spur the economy, to get people moving again. And I think it's going to be important, and I'm hopeful it's going to happen. And the president, of course, he's still putting out some information about the next Fed chairman and who that could be. And I guess we're all going to just wait and see how that finally develops as well.
Yeah, waiting and watching for sure, and a lot of people wanting those rates to come down for homes. Your home state of North Carolina, following something very closely there. We are as well. Just a few days ago, a 33-year-old man was critically injured after another attack on a train. This is just months after that beautiful Ukrainian refugee was killed in an unrelated knife attack. This is really just outrageous things that are happening down there in Charlotte. What needs to be done to keep people in your state of North Carolina safe, sir?
Well, I'm convinced what needs to be done is the people in Charlotte and that community need to rise up and elect leaders who will take crime seriously and understand that these kind of things that are happening in Charlotte should not be happening. That's the reason that we made an appeal several weeks ago to the governor, that when the Fraternal Order of Police in Charlotte had made us aware that they were some 276 officers short of being able to adequately police the city, that we asked the governor to consider bringing the National Guard to Charlotte so that we would be able to at least be a short-term fix. Just the presence of the National Guard makes a difference. We've seen that in Memphis. We've seen that here in Washington, D.C., and I think we could see that in Charlotte to give the police the opportunity to get things together and to be able to more adequately police the city and do the things that they need to be doing. What we saw happen the other day on this train was an absolute travesty. You mentioned Irina Zarutska. Listen, we'll never forget the fact that a person that had been arrested 14 times was out walking on the streets and was able to come up behind Irina Zarutska and stab her and kill her on that train. And now in this situation, we find an illegal alien, twice deported Honduran illegal alien that was there in Charlotte, and again pulls out a knife and stabs a 24-year-old young man who, by the way, I might add, has been a good Samaritan. Kenyon Dobie was a good Samaritan that stepped in when he saw this person yelling at people, passengers there, and particularly yelling and threatening senior adults, and he stepped in. And when he stepped in, the perpetrator got in his face, and Dobie pushed him back, and he fell, and when he came back up, he came up with a knife and stabbed this young man in the chest. And he's been fighting for his life. I'm grateful for medical folks that have gotten him strengthened, and I think he's making progress. But again, I'm grateful a Good Samaritan was willing to step in at that moment. But we've got to get serious about this. The Charlotte City Council turned around just on Monday night of this week and voted to spend $3 million, not on officers, not on security, but $3 million on an ad campaign to somehow make us feel better about getting on the light rail in Charlotte. That's concerning. So it's time for the public to step up. It's time for the public to make sure that leaders are held accountable in the way they're making decisions. And we've got to put law and order first in Charlotte.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a crime that should have never, ever happened. You're such a great advocate for your constituents out there. What are they saying to you about what is taking place in Charlotte? Are they feeling safe?
Oh, I think the folks are concerned about it. I mean, and you got to remember, when you're talking about Charlotte, you're talking about a large area of surrounding that community. People that come downtown Charlotte for all kinds of events. We had just the ACC championship was played downtown this past weekend. You're going to have the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl that's going to be coming the 1st of January. There's incredible shopping that goes on downtown. You've got shops, you've got restaurants, you've got the theater, you've got all kinds of activities, and the citizens want to know that it's safe to be down there, and they want to know that they don't have to feel threatened for their families when they get on the blue line and want to go downtown. And I think it's going to be important for the leaders to do much better at emphasizing this. And again, it's no time to be going off and complaining about Border Patrol when they're there, and shouldn't be complaining if National Guard were to come in. They're there to bring security, and they're there to help us. And I think that's where the citizens are, and I think that that's what our constituents would love to see.
Well, Congressman Mark Harris, always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you, Tracy.